Wendy Moreland, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Jeff.
Okay, so now for something completely different, right? Wendy, your work is something that I've never seen before until I met you. And so I think a lot of people are going to be interested to know, what is paper quilling?
Well, it's an older form of art that was started over in Europe. And my understanding is one of the tales, because there's no definite, origin of it, was that the nuns wanted to cover their Bibles. And so they didn't have the brass, and so they used paper instead, and they made all the different quilling and put on top. But quilling goes universal. I mean, it's South American, it's Indonesian, many cultures work in the paper quilling art form, and it's all different based on what they use for their products.
Okay, so it was a way to protect the Bible, to protect the books.
Decorative in a form that they could, which was cost effective. I mean, they didn't have the money for the brass and that to cover their Bibles like they wanted, but they still wanted something decorative and affordable. And my understanding is they used what they had available, which was paper.
I didn't know that. I had no idea.
And you kind of look into it when you Google it and check for history and stuff, but there's many forms of it.
Okay. Well, I've been seeing your work for several years now, since I moved here to Houston. By the way, we are here in the Art Machine Gallery in the Silos, part of the Sawyer Yards complex. You should definitely come and see Wendy's work here every Saturday, noon to 5 p.m. And we'll have more about that in just a little bit. But so I've been seeing your work for several years now, and every time I see it, I just marvel. I'm like, my thought is, how in the world did you do that?
Well, I think during COVID, we all were looking for opportunities to stay active and mentally, acute. And I did some research on what I wanted to do when I retired, which was I did not want to do custom framing because I did that in a previous life, but I still wanted to do some type of art. And so I found the Conroe Art League and fell in love with the gallery and the people there and all of the available lessons and the opportunities to show art there. So I started there, and I learned more about the mediums and how to work with, I fell in love with texturing. And you can see many of my backgrounds have texture on it. There's many courses that are available that, there's things in each course that you can apply to your medium. And so I enjoy taking those opportunities. But for me, once I found paper, I had to make a decision what type I wanted to use. Do I want to do craft quality and small and cards and small things, which were still time consuming, or do I want to do art quality, and what did it take to elevate it? And there are several artists that do YouTube in that. Yulia Brodinskaya is probably one of the better known ones. She does actual portraits with the paper in the modern technique. And then Pamela Cahy has a wonderful online course with mixed media, and I was in oil and cold wax at that time. So, but she again had acrylics and how to use the different mediums, and I took a lot of those lessons and worked it into my backgrounds and then quilled on top of it.
So how did you decide you were going to do paper quilling? So you did other things before that, correct?
Yes. Oil and cold wax, acrylic, and really there wasn't a market, and I was looking for my lane, and I think we all do. Smart. We want to do art, but we want to do things that are unique, and we don't want to copy someone else. So in looking at what was available, some of the local artists were doing big, and I financially could not do big pieces and frame them for $1,000. I could not do it at that time. And then I didn't really want to do portraits because I do not do faces well. Actual faces to make them look, people would be disappointed.
I see.
So, but that doesn't mean you can't do them. Right. But I found that paper, I decided to go small. And at first I was like, oh, everything looks like flowers. And I said, oh, well, everything looks like flowers. And I've went with that. I did look into some of my personality. As many artists, when you start with a blank canvas, it's very overwhelming. And I literally think I'll never finish. And I use a technique of shapes, and I use the hexagon pattern. As I studied a little bit more about it, it's the strongest structure in nature.
Paper?
In nature and
Oh.
in engineering, you'll see
Wood.
design, anything. Building, when they build buildings, when they build roads, you'll see the hexagon pattern. It forms the weight.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And
Okay.
so in my design, it's my foundation in a lot of pieces, and it gives me an anchor point for my work. So
Okay.
you'll see it throughout the pieces. And I
Yeah.
use other shapes. I like infinity. I like the endless circle of life and that. But yeah.
So you decided you were going to do something different, and so you decided on paper quilling. Had you seen other people do it before, and it piqued your interest, or how did?
Yes, and it was large, and I didn't really want to be in that same lane as
Right.
far as, and so I decided to go small, and I started investigating the hexagon pattern and multi shapes and the techniques involved in quilling, and then as I learned each new technique and found new paper and how to create different textures and elements, it just builds upon itself. And I think we all look for those techniques that change, that are part of our art, but they change how it looks and bring out the depth in a piece. So.
Do you use specific tools, or do you use just your hands? I have no idea, because it's coming from someone who knows nothing.
Fortunately, paper is, it's heavyweight cardstock, which is archival in nature. It doesn't yellow. It's acid-free. It's really a great paper. It holds up well. There are pre-manufactured papers, but they're very tissue-like. And so when I first started, I bought boxes of tissue and multi-wraps, and I found that they crunched up. So they didn't carry the weight of other pieces as well.
Okay.
And so it became more economical to buy 12 by 12s and 8.5 by 10 and cut them up myself. And so I acquired different photo trimmers, and I have them set for different widths and lengths. And again, it's part of the process where as you begin a project, you prepare your materials. And sometimes I'll take 2 to 6 hours cutting paper. Knowing that my project is I hate stopping in the middle of a project because I don't have something.
Well, that was a question I wanted to ask you. Like, do you spend a lot of time just cutting paper, folding paper?
In strips. I do in strips, and then I have bags of it. So I have it sectioned by colors. And when I need a color, I just bring a bag out, and I have, 1/8 inch, I have a 1/4 inch, I have, 5/8 inch, and if I need something different, but yes, I have my inventory of that.
That makes total sense. To me, since I've known you, I've always thought you are a very organized person. And I can see how that organization really comes in handy with this artwork.
The craziness. Yeah, this is art therapy. So I work for a company and I process papers, and it's not fun paper. So it's contracts and insurance and all that stuff. And so your day is very multitask, and you're wound up. And by the time I get home, I call this my jacuzzi of paper. So I slip into it, and for 2 hours, it's very simple work. It's not in the sense it's not a struggle to deal with, and all the stress from the day just goes away. And by the time it's negative energy, positive output, and we all have that opportunity in life.
Yeah, and I think it sounds similar to what like doodling is for me, right?
Yes, exactly.
Just mindless work that I can do something else while I'm doing it, and actually it provides a lot of concentration or a relaxation, or sometimes both.
Right. Well, and we all know people that have negative energy, negative output.
Right.
I like the fact that I can take my stresses of the day and find something positive to put them into and share them. So not only do I relieve my stress, and I think all adults and all children can work in paper and find the same type of relief. They may think, oh, I can't do this. Pick one thing, whether it's cutting fringe, whether it's folding, whatever that is. And if you focus just on that one thing, you get a lot accomplished in a short amount of time.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about, because you create some magnificent compositions. Do you get the idea of what you want to do first, or do you kind of put the paper on the outlet?
How do you go about it? A couple different ways. So I used to do custom framing. So for me, my art starts with the frame first.
Wow,
And
that's cool, actually.
I have it's probably reversed.
Yeah, that's cool.
But when I have a checklist of things that I want to do, and the things that people recommend. Hey, do you have this? And I just create a list. And then when I have a frame that I'm ready to do a design with, I see what I have in my inventory, and then how can I make it work with the frame that I have?
Okay.
And I start there with my background and build from there.
So that's very cool. You're the first person I've heard who starts with the frame, but that's knowing that you have a background in framing, it makes sense.
Right.
And I will say your frames are awesome. They're really cool.
Well, there's really, for me, there's no other way to display this type of work without a frame.
Yeah.
And so I do keep them neutral so that if the client would like to add a frame to it, they can use the existing as a liner, and they can add another frame around the edge of it and still expand upon it. But,
cool.
yeah.
Okay, so you got the frame, you decide what the subject's going to be. Your backgrounds are often painted, correct? You use acrylic paint?
I use, again, I've learned several techniques, and I do enjoy the texturing, and then and it's more subtle on a lot of my pieces, so it's there, but it's not as visible as the quilling parts of it. But I also do collage and work with a lot of specialty paper. I really like to collect paper.
Okay, yeah, that was another question of mine. Like, what is your house like? Is there a lot of paper around? You have a workspace?
I do. I have we built a new house, and so my husband has dedicated an area for me, and he says, not beyond this point. And so I keep my art corralled, and it is a workshop. It is not a gallery, so it has lots of things. It has cabinets of cardstock. It has my frames lined up. I mean, it has, it's a hot mess.
That's a hot mess, but that's where the magic happens.
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
And so, okay, you got, by the way, if you want to get Wendy a nice present, paper.
Paper's always good. Yeah.
So you have the frame, you have the background, like sometimes you have subjects like animals. You have the elephant is one of my favorite ones. The whale.
I will say that being here at the Art Machine Gallery and having the opportunity so many weekends to talk with people, the subjects really come from a lot of the clients that are visiting. And a lot of the encouragement from Jay and Barbara about the old masters and looking at Picasso and when I talked about I didn't like to do faces, I really hadn't done faces until I did a little more study on Picasso. And you'll see that with Picasso, his faces are not perfect.
Oh, yeah.
And so when working with paper, I was, and my husband often said, look, 2 eyes, a nose, and they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Now, do I know what it's going to look like in the beginning? No, I don't know until it's finished.
Okay.
So the concept is it's going to be a face, it's going to have 2 eyes, it's going to have a nose, and it's going to have lips. And then the magic happens. Right. So it's whatever comes out of that design, the abstraction of it.
Well, and also your use of color, is it one of those things where you have to stand back pretty far and keep checking your work?
I think in the beginning, I don't necessarily stand back. I take pictures. I do progress pictures regularly. Every time I work on a piece, I'm always evaluating it. What is it lacking? Where do I want to go with the next step? And there's times when a piece baffles me, and I will set it aside and think about it and then you work on some other small pieces because I'm stumped. And I find that paper is very energetic, and that when you work in a palette of neutrals, you are ready to work in something with color, and then you're overstimulated, and then you're ready to go back to something simple, and the paper really kind of leads you to the next piece. Okay,
that's cool. That's cool. I like that. A lot of artists kind of work that way, where you don't have a set plan. You have an idea of where you're going.
Yes.
One of the things that I really love your animals. The whale and the elephant come to mind right away, but you have some cats that are pretty adorable.
I enjoyed doing, and the wildlife was a challenge last year. I had not done animals, and that's what it was. I'd done a few jellyfish and whatnot. People said, have you done animals? So I put it on my list for the 2025 season to do more animals, and I think I did an alligator, I did a giraffe, I did a whale.
I remember the giraffe.
Yes. So I challenged myself, and we, as artists, we do get bored with doing the same thing over and over. And so
Right.
looking for that challenge, whether it was the all-seeing eye or whether it was the animals, even birds. I worked with cardinals.
Cardinal, I remember the cardinal,
So
yeah.
I'm still, there's still things to learn. And I like that about this medium.
Going back to the animals, when you look at them, they really do look like paintings with paper. Your selection of color and where you place it, it looks like a painting to me, like it's been thought out as a painter.
It's interesting that we see in pixels.
Yeah,
And
yes,
I really
yes.
feel that that's what we're seeing when I work in paper, because I can, as you said, you can step back and think, it needs a little darkness here.
Right.
And it can be just a spindle of paper just put in there, and it's amazing how one little piece can add the depth that you're looking for.
Right, make a difference.
And again, if I don't like something, I rarely cut something off. I usually cover it up and it adds depth. I mean, it's
Okay.
part of the process, but
Yeah.
it's not necessarily my favorite piece. But it can be hidden underneath, and you move on from there. It's very releasing.
Yeah, and if you get close, which you will, if you come to the Art Machine Gallery and you see the work right up close, there is a lot of depth there, and that's really fun, because I love in paintings when there's texture in paintings too. But here, I mean, you just can't avoid the paper.
Well, and that is the challenge. Again, it comes back to the framing skills. When I start with my compositions, initially I used to think, I like them, get them very deep, but I found that the deeper they are, the more shadow that is cast, and it tends to dull them down. So I would usually work within 5/8 to no more than 3/4 inch of depth, and then when I frame, my frames are usually 5/8,
Okay.
with the side panels and that. So.
Yeah, so that you have space, lets it breathe
Yeah,
a little
it's
bit.
good. And I like the white. The white reflects nicely with a lot of the colors and pops them out. Where
Yeah.
I do have darker colors, but it's a moody piece usually, and it's appropriate for that design.
Right. I'm thinking right now when you talk about mood, one of my favorite ones recently is the one that you had at the Cal International Show.
Yes.
The big circular lake scene.
Yes, and that was an abstraction. Again, it comes back to some of the products I use are textured paper, and you buy inventory and you often chide yourself on when are you going to use it.
Right.
And so finding something that where I enjoy acrylic, I enjoy texture. I created hand-painted paper and that I cut into strips and used for that piece. It was amazing. I can't believe it turned out as well as it did. And it has similar paper with this. This is a lot of the same textured paper that I created, but I used the tones a little different in that piece. So.
Yeah, and the frame is really excellent too. That circular.
Do I tell the secret on that one?
Yeah,
So that
please.
was actually a clock at Hobby Lobby.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's hard to find round frames that have depth. And so when I saw the clock frame, I took it apart and I went, shout out to my guy in Conroe with Contemporary Plastics, Joel up there,
Right on.
cuts plexi, and he does my acrylic boxes. So you can go
cool.
see Joel up there. He's on
Cool.
North Fraser.
All right,
He's
all
a
right,
great
yeah.
guy. But yes, so I took him my dimensions, and he cut my plexi for me. With my knowledge of the framing and that, I created my own side panels. My husband helped out because I ended up ordering my plexi a bit too thick. And so I had to add
Shave it
a
down a
half
little bit.
inch. No, I had to add a half inch onto the back, so my husband helped cut the backing,
Okay.
and we extended the frame out and
Right on.
stuff. So it
Well,
turned out really
yeah,
nice.
it looked great. And I got to hold it. It's pretty heavy, actually. It's
It was
quite a
good size.
piece.
I think it's my largest one I've ever done round, which is
Okay.
almost 35 inches round. I mean,
Okay.
it's big.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, and that was it was kind of a showstopper here right outside the Art Machine Gallery for a while before I went to that show, which makes me want to talk a little bit about the gallery here, because you are one of the best sellers here. You got things. You are the art machine, that's a great testament to your work. The ingenuity, I think, too, it really draws people in.
I thank Barbara and Jay for the opportunity. When I started here, I had no opportunity. I mean, I was using the Conroe Art League, once a month, and you could do smalls, but I never had the opportunity to put 25 pieces on a wall to sell the art. And there's times when it's hard to keep up. Again, Jay and Barbara have been wonderful. And this is an entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
It is what you make of it. Every artist rents their space. They have their opportunity to sell the art they want to display. What they do with it is in their wheelhouse. I'm blessed. God has blessed me with whatever this is, and I thank Him every day for the craziness.
Amen. Yeah. Well, you're also really good at speaking with people, and I think that's a big part of it. I've had this conversation with several people on the show before, that being able to talk to people, potential collectors, or people who are just coming by interested in your stuff, if you can talk about it in a kind, casual way without being too pushy. I don't know. There's an art to it, and you're really good at that.
Well, it started at the Conroe Art League, doing the docent shifts, and learning and getting comfortable, because I'm not comfortable.
Really?
I was not comfortable in talking about. I did sales, and so you have to talk about selling custom framing, which is okay, but when it comes to yourself and talking about your art, it's easier to talk about other people's. That's why I enjoy so much sharing. We have 15 different artists here. And so my day is often shared with, helping clients look at other art in the gallery, or opportunities and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. Like I said, they're very inspiring. I love being around each of them. And it changes. Everybody has to make a decision where their life's going and what their journey is going to look like. And it starts here, but it may take them someplace else. And that's their choice. But they always take this time with them. And it is a growing period. You learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about art. You learn a lot about the clients. And there's good days and there's not so good days. And it doesn't mean it won't get better.
Right. And how long have you been here? You've been here several years.
I'm going to say 4.
4 years? Okay, that makes sense.
4.5.
When we first met, we met at the Conroe Art League, and you were the first person I met. I did a docent shift with you, my very first docent shift. And you were super helpful, like giving me the lay of the land on the Houston art scene.
Yeah.
Because I was really a noob coming from Chicago. I had no idea what I was doing. I'd found the Conroe Art League, but that was the first time really sitting down and talking to people. And you were super friendly and totally open to like having your brain picked. So thank you for that.
Yes.
And at the time, I remember you telling me about the Art Machine Gallery. And so I came down here and I met Jay, and I saw,
It's a great vibe.
Yeah, very
Great
cool vibe. And I said, well, I'm going to get in there one of these days. And so I just kept bugging them. I bugged them for quite a while.
And people, and I said, the other opportunity I have is to take this home and put it in storage, because there's really no place else that I know in Houston where I can afford to have this opportunity. Yes, I could have a studio, but that's a cost effect that I can't, I can't handle that right now.
Yeah.
But this is something I can handle. It's Saturdays for me, 12 to 5.
Yep.
I work full time during the week. So this is great opportunity for me to be able to display my art. And yes, it's a different venue, and talking about something I enjoy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good time.
It is.
So should also recommend that people come down, have food. There's great food, great drink.
Bites and beverages.
Yes.
And family oriented. The facilities here are wonderful. If you have aged people, if you have children, the hallways are wonderful. The amenities and the restrooms are clean. Bring the family. You will enjoy the day here. And you may not get to see all of Sawyer Yards, but you definitely need to stop by Art Machine Gallery.
Yes, for sure. I want to go back just a little bit to the frame shop experience. So you worked for a framer first, and that's how you were introduced into the art world?
I originated from the Midwest, so I worked for a gallery selling custom framing.
Okay.
And then I moved to Texas, and the gallery that I worked for in Iowa was more of a merchandise, to where I was selling simply custom framing, and I would do the fits. We had another framer who did the mat cutting. After I came to Texas, I learned how to put my own frames together. I mean, Web Gallery in Atascocita was wonderful about teaching me framing.
Okay.
And I did win one award one year, so I was happy
Right.
about that with the PPFA. And it really, it was fun, but then life changed, and I had to go into, I went into construction because that's what Houston is known
all
for.
about still.
and being a single mom at that time, and being able to raise my kids and afford things, I got through it. And now I have a wonderful husband named Bill who has been so supportive and helpful in my art career, and looking forward to it.
Let you have your own space.
Yes,
for
he
wall
likes
to
me,
paper.
right? Shout out to Bill.
That's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, I like how it's kind of the reverse of a lot of people's experiences. A lot of people, myself included, know nothing about framing and only came to it because you had to.
Right.
Whereas you, like, that was your thing before.
It was, and it gave me an experience because I appreciate all art. I framed everything you can imagine. And so art is subjective. What you like one day or what you don't like, somebody else will love. So I never say something's not art, because you'd be surprised what you can frame.
Right on, yeah. Well, Wendy, you're also, like I said, when we first met, you were so willing to share information with me, and I think that's really cool quality to have, a really cool characteristic. You don't find that in the art world. It's very competitive, and sometimes people get very territorial and don't want to share information, like it's kind of a secret, but you were never like that.
Well, and paper is, I think with this medium, as with any art form, you bring the design to it. You can teach someone to work in paper, but ultimately the design comes from them. They've imprinted and created thoughts in their heads about what they want to design. They may use the same techniques, but their designs and subject matters will be their own. So there is no competition. They're not going to want to do what I'm doing. They're going to want to do what they feel makes them happy.
Yeah.
And it may be something similar, but that's great, because I'm not going to be here forever. And I would love to think that there are people out there that will carry on and go further than what I have.
Yeah, and I think that willingness to cheerlead other people and share information is something that's really cool. I felt it when we first met. I thought, oh, Wendy's one of those people I gotta stick close to, because she, not only were you full of information, but very helpful and kind. And I wanted to share another little personal story too, that you had no idea that I was running a marathon back in January. I come to the gallery, and you gave me a little bracelet, which I wear everywhere. In fact, if you rewind a couple years ago, when I gave my life to Jesus, you reached out to me and you're like, hey, welcome to the kingdom. And I thought that was really cool. And then you handed me this bracelet the day before I ran a marathon, which has Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, that's a random gift out of nowhere. It was kind of a little kiss from God, you know? And then I ran the marathon the next day with this on and had my best marathon in 14 years.
That's awesome.
So
that's energy. That's just,
Yeah.
And we talk about it, positive energy. There's negative people in the world.
Yep.
And I'm not saying don't interact with it, but don't let that be what guides you. Positive energy, positive output. I mean, you're always going to have people that are dogging other people. Don't be a part of that group. I would say that, the bullying mentality has no place in the art world, because we are one big family. And there, as far as competition, there is, you can walk around Sawyer Yards and see so many different styles of art. There's something here for everyone.
Yeah.
Will everyone like yours? No, but someone will. And out of 400 artists, to have somebody take a piece of your art home, that's a big encouragement. Even if it's a $30 piece, a $70, those small pieces, we're all starving artists.
Yes.
And I don't think the public really realizes we do need your support. And it is an encouragement. In our small world, as artists, we often wonder, is it worth it? And just a small purchase, you don't know what it means. It truly is enlightening of the day.
Yeah, it's validation also. And there's no better feeling. I've had this conversation with some other artists, that there's no better feeling than like selling a bunch of work in a small amount of time, whether that's at a market or a festival
It's overwhelming.
or a Saturday.
The gratitude and thinking, thank you.
Yeah. And then on the flip end, there's nothing more devastating than having a 0 for the whole weekend or whatever. But you get through it, right? It's just a numbers game. You have to keep showing up.
I think during that time, you look at what did you do? Did you stand off, and what was your positioning on why there wasn't any interest? Was it the prices? Was it, the day of the week? Was there some other things going on? And I think as long as you're talking to your clients that are visiting and making their visit memorable, so that they remember you and remember the kindness or the information, that there will come a time when they're ready to buy and they'll think, you know what, let's head back down there. And as long as they come here, whether they buy from you, but buy from Elizabeth, I'm happy with everybody.
Yeah.
I want everybody to sell their
Amen.
homes, so.
I feel the same way. We ring a little bell every time there's a sale. Doesn't matter who it's for.
Yes.
Cool, yeah. So you can definitely come down to the Art Machine Gallery here and see Wendy's work. Before we go, Wendy, though, I want to go through some rapid fire questions.
Sure.
We're going to find out a little bit more about you. These are quick answers.
Okay.
Both is not an answer. Everyone likes to say both. You can't say both.
One or the other. Okay.
One or the other, and you don't have to tell us why. That's part of the fun.
Okay.
Right? We're going to figure out on our own. Okay. All right. So the first one is coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee. All right. Forest.
Should say mushroom coffee.
Mushroom coffee. Okay. Do they have a special word for that?
No, there's
mud coffee. Is that something?
It's something like that.
Okay.
It's not full blown coffee. It's a little cocoa with it, but
Okay.
yeah.
Right on. Whatever. Hey, as long as it's got the caffeine, that's what we're looking for. Okay. Forest or beach?
Beach.
Beach. All right. Whataburger or Chick-fil-A?
Whataburger.
Whataburger, really? Okay, all right. Every transplant that I found here, it seems to go with
It's
the
on
Chick-fil-A.
my way home.
Oh, okay, there you go.
It's a quicker stop than
Right on.
Chick-fil-A.
Okay. The Chick-fil-A's got a long line always.
Yeah.
All right. Red or blue?
Blue.
Okay. Stone in your shoe or itch you can't scratch?
Itch.
All right, all right. Museum quality or street level energy?
I would say museum quality.
Museum quality, okay, I can see that. I can see that. Somebody's gonna be calling about one of these pieces here soon. Long drive or long walk?
Long drive.
Okay, right on. Trust your eye or trust your gut?
Trust your eye.
Okay. Movie theater or Netflix?
Movie theater.
All right. What was the last movie you saw?
Oh, it was probably, it's been a while. I want to say Rogue One.
Okay,
With
Rogue
Star
One.
Wars.
All
Yeah,
right,
I
we're
mean,
going back some here.
and other than that, it was Pacific, one of the ones with the kids. So
Okay,
it's
right
been a
on.
while.
No pressure. By the way, Rogue One, the best Star Wars movie that has come out since the Disney purchase.
Yeah.
The only good one, in my
Oh,
opinion.
Solo was really good too. I
Solo
think that
was okay.
I've seen them all.
It was okay, yeah.
So I should say, as part of my process, I put DVDs on as I'm working because I get into the zone.
All right.
And so I've gone through Harry Potter, I've gone through all the Star Wars, and every time it stops, you take a break. And so you get yourself mentally out of the zone and loosen up and then get back into, otherwise you can spend 6 or 7 hours and not even realize it.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome. Well, I like that. All right. That makes me like you even more that you're a Star Wars fan. Okay. Plan or no plan?
Plan.
Plan? I could see that for sure. Early bird or night owl?
Early bird and night owl.
All right. So that makes for a tough.
4 hours of sleep and I'm good to go.
Okay. There are certain people that have that gene that all they need is 4 hours. That's you?
Yeah.
Okay. I could do 4 hours, but I would be wrecked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just personality driven.
Okay, cool. All right. I think you and Benjamin Franklin were in the same group. All right. Create with music or without music?
Without music.
Okay. So, but you have the film on background.
Right, the
or a
music,
movie?
it's noise. It's
Yeah,
like, it's there just to keep things, otherwise it's too quiet.
Gotcha.
But I'm not really into, on a drive, I'll listen to music, but not as
But not while
as
you're
I'm-
making stuff. Okay, that makes sense. Concept driven or process driven?
Concept driven.
Okay, makes sense. Beauty or truth?
Truth.
Okay, amen. And now the last one, art that whispers or art that shouts?
I think art that whispers.
Art that whispers, okay, cool. I could see that. There's a lot of whispering pieces in your stuff.
Well, and I
Subtle.
think many times when people begin to look at the piece, you see any art piece, they enjoy it. But after a second look, they start to look at every corner. And so there's something that talks to, and they literally look at the whole piece. It's not like it looks, they start looking at all the pieces and the parts, and they say, this is an amazing concept and that. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
well,
you.
there's a lot going on. And
Yes.
so I definitely encourage people, come down to the Art Machine Gallery on Saturdays from noon to 5 p.m. In the silos at Sawyer Yards, Houston, Texas.
Yeah, Studio 215.
Studio 215, the air conditioner is always on, right?
Always.
It's good food and good drink. You have a good time.
Yes.
Before we go, Wendy, I want to share your social media with folks. They can find you on Instagram at WK Moreland, and we'll have it up here on the
Correct.
screen so they can see it. You're also on Facebook at Wendy Moreland Fine Arts.
That's correct.
And you can see a little more of her profile and some of her images on the Art Machine Gallery website, which we'll also put up here. Okay, cool.
www.artmachinegallery.com.
You got it. That's right.
We're here every Saturday, 12 to 5.
Correct. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Wendy. Had a great time. We'll do it again sometime. Yeah?
All right, thanks, Jeff.
All right. Thank you. Peace out.